Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go.
Hey man, I need y'all to hit the like button, man. My little homie, he done changed outfits on you. Now he got his bulletproof vest on. I told y'all he a shooter. Everybody keep playing. Y'all don't want to hit the like button. He done got his vest on. He came out with his nice little outfit on the first time. Everybody didn't want to hit the button. Now he done got his vest on. He going full 50 Cent on you. I'm telling you, I done seen him before, man. He just get wilder and wilder and wilder. I need y'all to hit that like button. Let's get him to calm down. Say, homie, calm down, homie. I need you to calm down, homie. I need you to calm down, little homie. Calm down. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? One and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And now that we have some kind of resolution on the trade wars, let's do a quick time lapse of this. I think it's important that we see how much the media lied. Let's start here, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. PBS News, a timeline of Trump's tariff actions. And I want you to see something. And I want you to see it for your own good and your own knowledge, your own understanding. No thanks. I don't want to subscribe. Watch this. January 20th, Trump is sworn in office. January 26th, he threatens 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports. Retaliatory measures after President Gustavo Petro rejects 2 U.S. military aircraft carrying migrants to the country, accusing Trump of not treating immigrants with dignity. Remember that? And then later on, that president gave his own private jet to send back those illegals, right? February 1st, Trump signs an executive order to impose tariffs on Mexico, China, and in Canada, 10% on all imports from China, 25% on imports from Mexico and Canada starting on February 4th. We get to February 4th, new 10% tariffs on all Chinese imports to the U.S. still go into effect. China retaliates the same day by announcing a flurry of countermeasures, including sweeping new duties on a variety of American goods and anti-monopoly investigation into Google. I don't know if you guys remember this. We covered the anti-monopoly investigation into Google. Then by February 10th, Trump announces he plans to hike steel and aluminum tariffs starting March 12th. He removes exemptions from 2018 tariffs on steel, meaning that all steel imports will be taxed at a minimum of 25%, and also raises 2018 aluminum tariffs from 10% to 25%. So this all started in February. February 13th, he announces reciprocal tariffs, promise to increase U.S. tariffs to match tax rates that other country charges on imports. So this is when the reciprocal tariffs come. February, let's go to March. Trump signs an additional executive order instructing the Commerce Department to consider whether tariffs on lumber and timber are also needed to protect national security, arguing that the construction industry and military depend on strong supply of wooden products in the U.S. Let's skip a little bit further down. March 10th, China retaliates 15% tariffs on key American farm products, including chicken, pork, soybeans, and beef. They take effect. Goods already in transit are set to be exempt through April 12th, so China retaliates. Skip a little bit further down. Let's go to March 26th. Trump says he's placing 25% tariffs on all auto imports, which was crazy because the media told people, oh, we don't know what's going to happen with these auto tariffs, so liberals went out and bought a bunch of vehicles, which was insane, out of fear, because that's what they do, is they stroke fear on liberals. And the point I'm making here is we are talking about essentially from February till May. So February, March, April, May. And we're at the beginning of May, and we have a trade deal done. Watch this. White House clarifies that Trump previously announced 125% figure for tariffs against China is actually 145 once his previous 20% fentanyl tariffs are accounted for. So we go into the tariff war, and it started in February. So February, March, April, we've been dealing with the media going crazy in line. Meanwhile, here's what's been happening inside of China. I don't want to hit that. I want to hit the one. Here we go.
At the height of the China-US trade war, the Chinese government made a surprise move, quietly exempting over 90% of US automotive chips from tariffs. From Qualcomm to Nvidia, from MCU controllers to the brains of autonomous driving, nearly all these core chips found themselves at the top of the exemption list. This action signals China's technological dependence, a form of reverse decoupling that raises questions about the state of China's own automotive industry. The reason for this shift is clear. China's EV companies were on the brink of collapse. They urgently appealed to the government, warning that without imports, they would face crippling supply shortages. Without tariff exemptions, they risked shutting down production entirely.
90%的国产车搭载美国芯片。
A Chinese-made electric vehicle has 90% of its core chips coming from the United States. The Zeekr 007 uses Qualcomm's 8295, the Xpeng P7i uses a 8155, and the Neo ET7 also runs on the 8295. BYD.
Now let's be clear. That's just on that part, right? Then when you get into, we'll go to the same channel, but we'll go to them on YouTube, and I'll show you some more things. Come on. Because this channel
BYD
actually
Seal
showed
uses
a lot
Qualcomm's
of the things
690.
that were going on
The old
in China. Here it is.
赶紧拍死啊！哎，这是服不吗？这谁不服？如果你们谁不爽的话，
戴着口罩干什么？这么多人过来干什么？
Due to the ongoing trade war between the US and China and the continued economic downturn, there have been multiple protests across China recently. On the early morning of May 7th, over 1,000 villagers in Guang'ao Village, Shantou City, Guangdong Province, blocked roads to protect their rights. They were protesting the local government's forcible removal of fishing boats parked in a sheltered bay. The protest was suppressed by a large number of fully armed police, leading to physical clashes and several villagers being arrested. The incident originated in October 2024, when the Guang'ao Community Committee privately sold the Jiang Typhoon Shelter and demanded that villagers move all fishing boats that were parked there. Guang'ao Village has a front typhoon shelter where villagers park their fishing boats, and in 2019, a back typhoon shelter was built. However, the back shelter was not built according to the approved plan. It has weak typhoon sheltering capabilities and contains many reefs, posing safety issues. Additionally, it cannot accommodate all the village's more than 600 fishing boats. The front shelter is widely recognized by villagers as a high-quality, safe shelter. It has withstood typhoons of over level 10. And boats parked there remained safe. For over a decade, villagers have been unwilling to move their fishing boats from the front typhoon shelter. The situation escalated on May 6th, when the local government sent large trucks to forcibly remove the boats. Villagers continued to block the roads until around 4 a.m. on May 7th.
Now, it's important to understand that all this turmoil in China is because of the economic condition that's going on in China. And yes, the Chinese Communist Party is extremely powerful, and yes, they're militaristic in their actions, and yes, they will disappear people. But unfortunately for them, there are more citizens than there is the Chinese Communist Party. So the Chinese Communist Party doesn't have many choices when it comes to rebellion. They can put down rebellions violently in the streets, and it will only make things worse. And we already know about TikTok and how the people are on TikTok exposing brands on TikTok. We saw that. Whoa. That was wild. That's somebody burning a dog. We know that the Chinese influencers were exposing. Nah, that was one right there. Let me go back.
in China. And the reason that replicas often look just as good as the original is that they are made in the same factory. So when you think Swiss made, you're imagining this bespoke factory in Switzerland with mountains in the background, with artisans working really hard to make exquisite timepieces. That's not the case. So how do they get away with calling it Swiss made if most of it is manufactured in China? Well, it's a little loophole where as long as 60% of the total cost of construction happens in Switzerland, they can call it Swiss made. Almost all of the movement's the thing that makes this thing tick, is done in China. And then they'll take one component that might be a little bit more expensive. Usually it's something like the rotor, the thing that makes it automatically wind. And they'll just slap that on and they'll make sure that that is 60% of the cost. Now, it also has to be manufactured in Switzerland, but what does that actually mean? It just means that they have to put this little crystal on here, the lens of the watch. As long as they slap that on in Switzerland, they can call it a Swiss watch. Most Swiss watches are actually...
And so we saw China strike back by exposing the fact that pretty much every luxury brand is made in China. So your Rolexes, your Hublots, your Tags, every watch is manufactured in China. And so, for example, my favorite watch that I do have that I don't really wear anymore, Breitling Super Avenger, which is about, the one I got was $2,800. That Breitling was probably made in China. And it makes sense why you can find a replica Breitling in a gas station that looks almost the same, except for the weight is off. Now you can tell by the weight. The real Breitling is heavy, but I mean, the replica, I mean, if you've never held a real one, you had a replica, you wouldn't know the difference. You know what I'm saying? And so we see China fighting back by trying to expose, but nonetheless, we get to the point to where we start to see mortgage fraud being committed in China. I mean, insurance fraud committed in China.
For several days in a row, major fires and explosions have occurred across China. Over the past month, unusual incidents have been happening frequently throughout the country, leaving many people in shock and believing that something big may be coming. On the morning of May 3rd, a truck caught fire on the Shenzhen-Zhongshan Link Bridge tunnel. The incident is still under investigation. People have noted that it burned twice, each time damaging the cable stays. The more you think about it, the stranger it gets. On May 2nd, a fire broke out at a factory in Dingqiao, Zhejiang province. The fire was intense and the factory was completely burned. Some users reported that several people died at the scene. In less than a month, multiple major fires have occurred, and in May, they have been happening every day, escalating into an out-of-control situation.
All right, so that's one of the things that always happens when businesses go out of business. It's fires, because it's the only way to recoup the cost of those goods is through insurance. So as I'm watching this stuff happen, we realize that their economy is completely collapsing. Then Donald comes out with the Hollywood tariffs, and then simultaneously when the Hollywood tariffs come out, here we go, China's economic winter, 3,000 actors in Beijing are unemployed, 300,000. I mean, it was tit for tat. It really was a trade war. You know what I'm saying? And then we had people come out and say, hey, China's economy is screwed.
I know that China is doing very poorly right now. I just saw some reports coming out, and I don't want that to happen to China. I like the president a lot, President Xi. I don't want it to happen. I was actually saddened to hear it, but they are getting absolutely hammered in China. And, they're sending boats, the biggest boats in the world, carrying cargo like nobody's ever seen. They're doing a big U-turn and going back because they don't want the goods, because 145% tariff. But at a certain point, I hope we're going to make a deal with China. We're talking to China, but their factories are closing all over China.
And the craziest thing was the mainstream media would not tell us any of this. I mean, the media would not tell you the truth. I mean, even Maria Bartiromo, who I like and who tries to tell the truth, when you look at American media, there's ample evidence of what's going on. Nobody gave you the complete picture. They could have given the American people the complete and total picture, but they refused to give the complete and total picture to the American people. It's absolutely insane. And then we get to the point to where we get our deal.
Hello, everyone. I am Tom Shalhoub, along with Molly Line, Lydia Hu, and David Webb. And welcome to a special edition of the Big Weekend Show. Tonight's story. It's all about the art of the deal. The Trump administration has announced a trade deal has been reached with China. This comes after the president hailed the great progress made during yesterday and today's meetings in Switzerland. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer detailed the negotiations earlier today.
We made substantial progress between the United States and China in the very important trade talks. We will be giving details tomorrow, but I can tell you that the talks were productive.
The president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs, and we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency.
This all comes as President Trump is set to take his first trip to the Middle East during his second term. The president is set to visit with leaders from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates starting Tuesday, as the U.S. held another round of nuclear negotiations today with Iran. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, with all the latest. Hi, Lucas.
Well, good evening, Tom. When President Trump first returned to the White House, his first call with a foreign leader was here to Saudi's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And like his first term, President Trump is taking his first official overseas trip here to Saudi Arabia. As you mentioned, he's also going to continue on to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates as well. You mentioned the negotiations going on over...
All right, that's enough of that. We don't need to hear that. The point I'm making is, then we get to the point to where we got a deal. The issue that we face is the fear and anxiety that was dumped on the American people was completely and totally unnecessary. And I'll tell you something else that's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous that China opened an investigation into Google, yet Google still in America is censoring its people, the people of America, even though China was the one that opened up that investigation into them. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. James O'Keefe stuff didn't turn out to be what we thought it would. I mean, it turned out to be like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nothing super duper major. But as it pertains to this tariff war, it's amazing because that tariff war stops what would have been a nuclear world war. And every tariff deal has stopped a larger military war. Now, the media won't say it. Nobody is saying it. But it's the truth. These deals, this deal, wheeling and dealing, has saved millions of lives. And I think it's a reprieve that the world is getting away from the wickedness of some of the most wicked people on the planet. But I don't think it's going to be permanent. I think America and the world is getting the opportunity to see how things would be if we didn't go down the road that the globalists wanted to take us down, which is destruction, and how it would work out. And then we're going to get another opportunity where they're going to come back and they're going to try and take power. And when they come to take power again, it's going to be up to the world to reject them. The same way that America rejected them, it's the world's turn now to reject them. And we'll see what the world does, man. I mean, hopefully people will see that, this is a whole bunch of bull crap and we don't need to be doing it. But you never know. I mean, you never know. But there you go. That's that on China. Again, the last two videos I uploaded have not been advertiser friendly. So I just wanted to see. Now we're probing this algorithm to see what's going on. I'll be back.